appreciate the fact that you're saying you act in a professional manner. But you will know that sometimes police act out of what is expected of them. And that's why we've got institutions like IPIT to look at that kind of conduct. And in a situation of Matlala where he says his children were put on the floor and pointed with a gun, and the wife was assaulted and all of that, you will agree with me that if that happened, that will be wrong. It's an unacceptable conduct that no African child should be subjected to. The fact that the case has not been opened doesn't mean it didn't happen. And I'm not saying it happened, but if it happened, it's something that you should be willing to condemn. And when it was uttered by Matlala, for sure, you would have developed some interest to verify the facts that it really happened in a manner in which Matlala is saying it. General.
Thank you. Good morning once again, Honorable Chair, Honorable Member. Indeed, we try by all means to be as professional as possible because we are developing the culture of thorough investigation and developing a culture of engaging whoever the person of interest is. We after the evidence then by Mr. Matlala, indeed one did revisit the reports and then discussions with the operational commander to confirm. But as the honorable member is rightfully pointing out, if there are allegations maybe that are beyond our view from the reports that we receive from the team, Mr. Matlala then is allowed to come forward, not to us, but through the structures like IPIT to lay complaint.
Thanks, General. When you got arrested at the airport, how did you feel about it, that you get to be subjected to that kind of treatment as a senior police officer? Did you know about it before? And why do you think they treated you the way they did? Because ordinarily, when a person is senior like you, who is not necessarily a fugitive, who you can easily make an appointment with through the lawyer for him to appear, and so on and so forth. What really transpired there?
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Member. It did not feel right. One had to look back at the investment that one has done in his own integrity for the past 34 years. But then one luckily had a clue, and then one had to understand it as a project targeting the reputation, because already the campaign was on targeting both PKTT as well as myself, because I'm in charge of both environments, the division as well as PKTT. It did not feel well, but then one had to accept it as it was clear that the objective is really to, because if we may compare, out of all the rest of the junior officers were called to come. I'm the only one who was not called, who was then arrested at the airport the way it happened.
And you'll agree with me that arrests like that are not conducted by senior police officers, like a general coming to arrest a general. Ordinarily, it will be a very junior member of the police, junior than you, who comes and effect the arrest.
Yes, I agree, Honorable, through you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Member. It was junior members, even the senior investigating officer was not present. So the whole SAPS that is working at the airport was activated. One could hear the discussion then from the arresting officers from IDEC as we are leaving, thanking the chief commanders and the station commander of the airport for well executed operation. So it was something that was not supposed to be done like that, but it did happen as planned.
Do you know the junior who arrested you?
Yes, I know my arresting officer.
Is there a Sergeant Ndlovu in the PKTT?
A Sergeant Ndlovu in the PKTT, there might be one, I cannot but recall as of hand. The one that is coming on to my mind as I talk is the one who was previously with the team from the intelligence collection side.
Now that you know this junior arresting officer, did you send any of the PKTT members to the Eastern Cape to surveillance their arresting officer's residence?
No, I've never done that.
Was there ever such an allegation brought to attention that there is a PKTT member who's surveilling the house of the arresting officer?
No, I've never received such a complaint. I would have attended to it.
And you will agree that if such a thing happened, it will be somehow something that seeks to, in a way, intimidate the arresting officer or witness in your language.
That is correct, Honorable Chair, and we will have to discourage it if it indeed happened. But then one is not in control of, or one cannot say whichever environment is investigating whoever cannot do it then because of that. But if it's done for the purpose of intimidating the arresting officer, it needs to be condemned. It's not right.
General, are you aware of the Inspector General of Intelligence findings against you and members of the management of the crime intelligence? And this report has led to the suspension of the Inspector General of Intelligence, which makes certain findings about you.
Other than what one picked up on the media, there is no official report and it's not even supposed to be brought to our attention, but one has just read and picked up on the media.
Do you have a security clearance?
Yes, Honorable Chair, I have 2 of them.
And then that report suggests that one of those security clearance was fraudulent and thereby invalid.
It is not true, Honorable Chair and Honorable Members. The first security clearance was issued to me, and after crime intelligence has conducted their vetting investigation since 2018 when I applied, and then the process continued up until then before my appointment, when then the National Commissioner inquired as to how far is the process, and then they finalized the process, and then I was issued then with the security clearance.
You spoke about some members of SAPS who are trying to destabilize the Swartz murder case, who got involved in a bad way in an attempt to destabilize this case and its investigations. Is there anyone who's arrested for that purpose?
The whole investigation around the allegations of obstructing the cause of justice is underway. It's a very wide investigation because it starts from the threats that were made against the members during the bail application stage, right throughout the operation of the 6th. So it is a very wide investigation, but the docket, some of the dockets are already with the NPA for decision.
Another allegation you make is that this there were senior members of SAPS who were mingling with the implicated parties or some members of the cartel. And what made many of us so interested in your appearance is that the National Commissioner, when he came here, and General Mkwanas, when they came here, they said, you were going to give us more meat on many things that they've said, including giving us names of the people who might be implicated in some of these things. Who of the senior members of SAPS was mingling with the cartels? And in which events were they found mingling together?
The issue of mingling, let me first start, Honorable Chair, by maybe then reminding the House on what I said yesterday. There is a thin blue line between the members of the cartel or any syndicate and then wanting to paint the picture that they are closer to the high-ranking officials or politicians, and also between them being working together. So, as I've indicated, that is still part of the investigation. The senior officers were identified, and then the investigation to determine how far the relationship is ongoing.
Yeah, but who are these senior officials who mingle with persons of interest? I mean, I remember one of the witnesses in Madlanga said they got extremely scared when they were invited into a social gathering, and then they found some of these people in a party, even playing music from their phones, as a way of demonstrating that actually they are very familiar with this environment they found themselves in. It shouldn't be a very difficult thing to share with the South Africans that this senior officer was found in a house or in a party of a person of interest. The person of interest we may not mention, but a senior official who's commanding these junior investigating officers, junior in terms of rank compared to them. Some even get instructions from them on how certain things need to be done. The next thing, they find these thugs sitting with senior police officials. We should be able to get names, because that is the whole idea why we are here. We are not here to just search in the air. We want something that is touchable, something tangible, so that when we leave here, we are able to make the necessary recommendations and say whatever needs to happen to whoever, if we find that indeed there is some involvement with wrong people who are involved in destroying the future of our children in this country.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, Honorable Members. Referring to the evidence under oath led by witnesses A, B, and C in Malanga Commission, they are referring to some events where then they will be called to attend some social gatherings, and then they will find then senior officers also being together with their persons of interest in the investigation. They mentioned the Provincial Commissioner of Gauteng, the Major General Shibiri that I referred on yesterday. I'm not sure, because I do not have that as part of my their statements as part of my bank.
When did the National Commissioner ask you to take over the investigation which brought Matlala to your side? When was that?
I might not have the exact date, but it is supposed to be around October, November, when then he invited me to a meeting where there was a complaint about that investigation, and then the complainant then was venting the frustrations and unhappiness about the fact that the docket was investigated by the team that was reporting to the Deputy National Commissioner Crime Detection, of which the allegations during the meeting were he is very close to a person whom the complainant was suspecting to be involved in the kidnapping. It was during that meeting that then the National Commissioner directed that I took over that investigation.
So that would be October, November 2025?
October, November 2024. Because we had our operation on the 6th of December.
When a national commissioner was asked a question about whether he knows Matlala or not, early 2025, he said, no, I did not know who the owner of the company was. I also did not know who Vusimuzi Matlala is. But he referred Vusimuzi Matlala to you in October, November 2024. And when asked whether he knows Vusi Matlala, he says, no, I don't know the person. Then that is in 2025.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Even myself, I did not know him. He was, I think on my affidavit, I introduced that subject in one of the paragraphs, that the name was introduced to us for the first time during that meeting, and then we had then to start our investigation by identifying the person. From the National Commissioner's point of view, the name was mentioned by the complainant in our presence, both of us. So I won't be in a position to indicate if he knew him before that meeting.
No, but he referred him to you in October 2024. When he's asked early 2025, he says, I don't know such a person.
Yes, Honorable Chair, as I'm indicating, one cannot be sure whether knowing was in reference to knowing a person physically, so or knowing that there is a Vusima Kala. The name, as I've mentioned, was mentioned to both of us by the complainant during that meeting. From my side, I can confirm that it was for the first time hearing about the name Vusima Kala.
So they referred the matter in relation to the case of Mr. Jerry Bogasho.
That is correct, Chair.
Yesterday, you spoke about coincidences. You are a head of crime intelligence. You can't speak about coincidences to us, because if you have observed such pattern and you are suspicious that there is something that is fishy here, because this cannot just be coincidences. That's why we are bringing them to our attention. You run an operation on the 6th of December, and then at the same time, a person, Advocate Johnson, writes a letter demanding the dockets. And then you say it's a coincidence. A head of intelligence can't speak like that. You ought to tell us if there was connection between this demanding of the dockets in relation to the cases that were opened by Honorable Adams and the operations of the 6th of December, because the whole intention is to find out if there are senior people in the police, in the NPA, in the judiciary, who are trying by all means to protect these criminals. So when dockets are being demanded, on the same day you're running an operation, and then you are suspicious that this might be used to destabilize this investigation we're busy with. Have you conducted any investigation about that to ascertain yourself that there is criminal activity that is happening here, which seeks to protect criminals, both by Advocate Johnson and Honorable Member Adams?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. At the present moment, I am referring to those as coincidents, which are raising suspicions, but one being involved in the case that is at court, one is not in a position to institute the counter investigation to confirm that that investigation will take place when the time is right. Hence, now we are referring to those coincidents as suspicions.
So the story that you tampered with, not necessarily you, but that Matlala's phones were tampered with, an allegation made by Advocate Johnson and Matlala himself, that story is not correct.
According to us, that story is not correct. We have the proof and the statement from our digital forensic as to activities that we conducted on those phones. Whoever is alleging the deleting and then has to also come with a proof from their independent DFI.
So you will suggest that Advocate Johnson and Matlala lied under oath?
From our point of view, we can confirm that because we have the 212 statement as well as chain statements from whoever handled and dealt with the cell phones. And also the common sense has to maybe tell us that we were the ones that were interested in every bit and a piece of information that we might find in those phones, and then it will be defeating our own purpose if then we will we conducted the operation. We were not aware that the subject of investigation might be a person of interest to so many people and institutions that might at the later stage be interested in the cell phones. But for our investigation, it will be defeating our own investigation if we can delete even a full stop in one of those gadgets.
That phone of Matlala, which was found in the cell, did you also do some forensic on it?
That is correct, Honorable Chair.
Do you confirm that Mr. Brown Mokhodzi and the minister's conversation of any arrest affected, you speak about it in 155, that was not about Stelfontein?
According to, thank you, Honorable Chair, according to our analysis of the communication, we confirm that it flows from the discussion of IPID expected to effect some arrests, and then as then it comes towards the end as a response to the discussion that is starting earlier on, as I presented on my statement. Hence, then I concluded in my statement that it cannot be possible that that arrest was related to the Stilfontein issues.
So Minister lied under oath that he was talking about Stilfontein?
Unless then they can be a proof like we are producing in the form of that communication and interaction and responses.
So do you confirm that there are journalists who are also involved in this kind of activities to protect these cartels?
We have identified some that we believe that they might be part of the communication department of the cartel, and then the investigation is still ongoing on that part.
In your own opinion, the disbandment of PKTT was to protect the cartels?
Up to so far, we are convinced, based on the reasons that are contained in my statement, that before the first takedown on the 6th of December, one had never received any complaint or any issue, negative issue around the PKTT. So it came as a surprise, but then with the understanding that the only reason might be that the PKTT assisted the GCI ops in Gauteng.
The National Commissioner, when he came, he said, you are going to give us names of the politicians you are investigating. Are you able to share those names of politicians who might be involved in corruption that you are investigating?
As I've indicated during my testimony, Honorable Chair, that as per the legal framework, we are not allowed to identify a subject of investigation until the investigation is finalized. And then...
Thank you so much, honorable members.
Any judge?
The next speaker is Mbangazita from the Inkatha Freedom Party. Up until 2 minutes after 11 o'clock, Honorable Mngango.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Good morning to
Good morning,
General
Honorable.
Khumalo. General, as Divisional Commissioner of Crime Intelligence, can you confirm unequivocally whether you had full operational authority to manage intelligence collection and deployment, or whether your authority was somehow subject to informal political influence?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. As far as I'm concerned, as well as my activities and actions ever since I was opened, I have the full authority to direct the collection of intelligence within the environment without any influence.
Thank you. When intelligence products are disseminated to National Commissioner, the Minister, and the National Intelligence Committee, are these bodies actually receiving the same intelligence, or are different versions of intelligence shared to these different bodies? And I'm asking this because when General Sbia was here, he actually gave us a lot of different, intelligence information from what you are actually telling us now. So that is why I'm asking whether you do share, the same product. Even the minister was telling us something different. Hence, he was actually very adamant in that the PKT team must be dissolved because it has actually outlived its usefulness.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Maybe attending to the first part of the question. Indeed, there will be a difference in terms of reports. The reports that we share with the intelligence coordinating structure is of a strategic in nature, and then when it comes to the ministry, in terms of our AOP, we are expected and we do submit the monthly intelligence reports that are talking to both the activities for the previous month as well as the preview of the activities then for the next month. That is at ministerial level. Now and again, if there is the intelligence report that needs to be shared with either the ministry or the national commissioner, it happens as soon as that intelligence report is ready for distribution. So the information will be the same if then the subject matter that is dealt with is also the same.
Well, thank you, Shoban. Have you ever been instructed formally or informally to withhold, delay, dilute, or even redirect intelligent reports from decision makers?
No, Honorable Chair, through you, I've never.
Thank you. You actually describe in paragraph 33, I think is the last sentence in paragraph 33, you describe, crime intelligence as a cornerstone of national security. Can you tell the committee whether any intelligence-led investigations were slowed halted or even discouraged because they implicated politically connected individuals?
During my time since my appointment, it has never happened up until one then can refer to the hectic period that I was explaining since yesterday, that there are lots of our investigations that were affected by since the 6th of December up until leading towards our arrest and our removal from the office. So the possibility can exist that those were meant to derail some of our investigations.
Well, General, in your assessment, the crime, or has crime intelligence been weaponized in the past, either to protect certain individuals or to target others, or to settle old scores using crime intelligence?
Based on my previous experience in the environment, as I've indicated yesterday, I can confirm that those suspicions did exist, and it is something that one prioritized after the appointment. Hence, then the issue that I explained in details yesterday that talks to the alignment of the activities of the division to those of SAPS and nothing else.
Thank you, General. If I may actually quote one sentence in your paragraph 33, your evidence in chief, you say, unfortunately, this time the threats is so pronounced, it requires intervention in SAPS that has never been seen before. Can you clarify what makes this infiltration unprecedented in a democratic South Africa?
It flows, Honorable Chair, thank you. It flows from my narrative yesterday of what we have experienced during this operation since this investigation started, to realize that what was known and within SAPS was for a sergeant, a constable, warrant officer stopping a car on the road and requesting or demanding a jojo, and that was something that we thought we are battling with, but realizing the infiltration that we are experiencing now internally, that is at a very highest level of top management. And then that's what makes us to think that the interventions that needs to be implemented are the ones that have never been seen before.
When both the minister and General Sbiya appeared before this committee, they both asserted that PKTT's term of office actually expired in 2022. So that their argument was that its operation after that was actually outside its mandate and therefore illegal. Any expenditure incurred by the activities of the PKTT was therefore illegal. Now, is the minister aware, or was the minister not aware of the extension of the term of the PKTT? I'm asking this question because SDK 9, paragraph 72, even of your evidence, there are signatures there, and General Sbia's signature in that information notice there, where the extension of the term of PKTT actually is contained. But Sbia came here and argued strongly that PKTT's term expired in 2022. But in terms of that information note, the extension actually, went up to 2025, if I'm not mistaken. Would it be that Sbia came here and actually lied under oath?
Before I get to the Honorable Chair, through you, before I get to the last part of the question, I have to indicate that is one of the reasons why we are convinced that all of the reasons that has been forwarded up to so far as the reasons for disbanding the task team are not true, and there is no honesty into that. Referring to the information note that the honourable member is quoting, common sense was supposed to be that if there is this directive, then myself as the Deputy National Commissioner, I supported the commitment of funds and the budget for this project up until end of March 2025 with my signature. Now, if then I have to spearhead the disbandment in January before the end of March 2025, what will that mean in terms of my activities around the Public Finance Management Act in terms of fruitless expenditure? The money is committed, and then I also then spearhead the disbandment. So the reason around the unlawful operations by the PKTT after 22 are unfounded. There are documents including that information note and the approval that had even the Deputy National Commissioner's signature. So it cannot be true that the PKTT was operating unlawfully after 2022.
Well, thank you, General. When you actually discussed the modus operandi of the criminal cartels, you actually outlined a lot of things, how they actually get to infiltrate, the crime prevention structures. My question is, why do intelligence structures actually fail to detect and deal with that infiltration? I'm here talking about, for instance, Matlala. We were told here that everybody at head office in Pretoria knew Matlala because he was a frequent visitor of some of the high leadership of the police at head office. But why why did intelligence actually fail to detect that Matlala is in fact a dubious character that should not be frequenting the corridors of our national crime prevention, structures?
Thank you, Chair. It's one of the areas of improvement that we have identified to be supposed to be a priority. If we look at the current structures as well as the current capability and capacity, counterintelligence was one of those areas within the division that were not capacitated to fulfill roles like that. It is now during the reforms that we are then focusing on that, because we have identified it as a threat to the national security of the country, if then the criminal justice system can be infiltrated so easily.
Do you ever discuss in particular the contents that you shared with us around how criminal cartels actually infiltrate the corridors of power with your colleagues at different levels? I'm here talking about your DivComs, all those other, top guys there. Just to share that information so that they are also aware when they conduct their own business, they should be aware, that there is that possibility of them being, infiltrated, especially when you're discussing the issue of the cultivation of relationship between cartels and the corridors of power.
The discussions has always been happening as and when then there are meetings, but one has realized that we need to influence that there are policies or standard operational procedures that are going to be cross-cutting all provinces as well as all divisions in terms of how to deal with then the external stakeholders. It does happen, especially with the visible policing side that is dealing with partnerships, that they will refer to us for a thorough profile of any stakeholder or partner that would like to partner with them in any project that is related then to the crime-related issues.
Well, upon assuming office, you identified the gross misuse of resources and intelligence methodologies. Are you prepared to share with us who actually benefited from this misuse and why was it allowed to persist for so long?
Thank you, Chair. Maybe for the reasons that I mentioned yesterday, without going into details into the intelligence methodologies, but one can confirm that the beneficiaries has always been senior officials within the division, as well as some individuals, especially from the business sector, that will be benefiting then with those abuse of resources as well as intelligence methodologies. That was made possible by lack of legal framework that I attempted to unpack yesterday as to what made it easier than for wrong things or unlawful activities to continue as if they are lawful. It's because then there was no strong legal framework guiding the activities of the division.
You stated in your evidence, in chief, that you removed state vehicles from senior managers and reallocated them to operational units. Can you confirm whether this decision disrupted entrenched privilege within senior SEPs ranks and linked to your arrest as a reaction to what you actually did?
It's one of the decisions that made one to be not so popular because of the benefits that was coming then towards those seniors that were involved in that scheme. Because if you have not been spending on a vehicle installment and the running cost for your private vehicle, in fact, not even owning one for the past 15 to 20 years, and then all of a sudden then come the situation where that come to an end, and then you won't take it lightly. So indeed, that's why then there were those rebellions in the form of misinformation, in the form of campaigns for one to be removed from the division. I'll make one example. During the recent period when one was not in the office, there were about 3 senior officers that attempted to get the state vehicles back from the acting divisional commissioner, which is an indication that indeed the campaign of one to be removed is still ongoing. So any opportunity, no matter how small is it, like the period of 3 to 4 months, and then already there are attempts to go back to the old ways that one is trying to deal with.
So clearly, it seems you are experiencing some sort of a coordinated resistance from different, quarters within SEPs, when you are trying to actually reform, the institution in your own environment. So how much support do you get from the National Commissioner, for instance?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. One has to confirm that the current management is getting necessary support from the Office of the National Commissioner. Hence, then these reforms are proceeding in spite of the challenges that we are facing. Like one can look at the whole year that has been lost in terms of this turnaround strategy implementation. Since then, this chaos started from December last year up to most recent time.
Thank you, General. You refer to misinformation about informers being paid only 3,000 rand. Can you clarify how informer payments are actually determined, authorized, and audited? I mean, our people are not working out there, and some of them might benefit the country for actually being part of this arrangement here. How do you pay them? How much are they being paid? Are you at liberty to share that with us?
An informer can be paid as much as the informer can sell, the value of what the informer is selling. So it's not a predetermined, there is no predetermined price as to how much. It's always the principle of value for money, like we do with our own private budgets. We apply the same principle. So it won't be easy, because there is a checklist that each application has to go through as to the value of that information that was sold and we bought it.
Well, thanks, General. You then introduced tighter controls over informal rewards. Did that actually threaten established patronage, in your view, patronage networks within crime intelligence?
Indeed, one can also confirm. That's why it's listed as one of those decisions that were not supported by some in the senior management, indicating that those control measures were making it impossible then to misuse the state coffers or funds.
You also identified and dismissed ghost employees. I remember that one of the generals, who I'm not sure whether it's General Mukwanas, I can't remember, who actually shared with us that one general who was running a private farm operation had an army of these employees working on his farm but being paid for by as subs, as either informers or whistleblowers or of some sort. Can you confirm how many individuals were removed and how long they had been on the payroll? And then what is going to happen? Because I heard you yesterday even saying that there were some who actually had even, received ranks within the subs, and yet they were ghost police, if I may call them that way. What is going to happen to the accumulated either pension or benefits of their illegal employment?
Thank you, Chair. It's a project that is currently still on because it talks to the identification. The first thing that one has to explain is there is no proper paper trail for that process by then. So even identification of those employees, it's not something that can happen overnight. It's something that we are busy with the roll calls that we are doing spontaneously, so as then we are able to identify those that are part of the group. But as soon as we do identify, and then we will then start the process of investigating, that will then lead to the dismissal thereof, and then the file then referred to our legal services and HR departments to start the process then of dealing with the expenditure or the benefits and the salaries that were unlawfully given to that coast employee.
General, you were accused of appointing, quote unquote, your own people. Can you confirm whether all appointments?
Bangazita. Don't look at me, look at the time.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Thank you, General.
The next speaker is Honorable Sols. There has been a small lapse of seconds, so your time will run until 11:33.
Is the chair saying that I have an injury time or something?
No, I'm now addressing Honorable Sols.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Good morning, General.
Good morning, Honorable Member.
General, is Minister Mkhunu, is he corrupt?
Thank you, Honorable Member. It is the type of a question that one cannot answer with a direct answer unless if it's qualified by the chain of events as it is tabulated in my affidavit. But in case of a direct answer that one can give as it stands is a no.
Is Minister Mkhunu part of the drug cartel or drug gang in Gauteng?
As per, thank you, through you, Chair, as per my affidavit, the involvement of the minister is up to so far where I had explained in terms of the links, which are indirect links with the cartel under investigation.
Is that a yes or no? Is that a yes or no? Is he part or is he not part?
It's a no if then it's supposed to be a yes or no.
Thank you, General. Is General Sibia corrupt?
The same answer will be applicable because corruption is a charge that needs to be investigated. Up until the investigation then is completed, and then a person, a subject of investigation is charged, then you can come to that conclusion of a direct answer of a yes. So the answer, whilst the investigations and inquiries are ongoing, it will always be a no.
Is General Sibia part of the drug cartel in Gauteng?
The same response will be applicable to the question, Honorable Chair, that the investigations are ongoing. So one is not in a position to say yes or no in terms of the mentioned individual like General Sibia.
So the answer is no, as you stand here today.
Yes.
You testified yesterday that, open quote, almost the entire SEPS Gauteng works for cartels, close quote. How many members are there, SEPS members are there in Gauteng?
Thank you, Chair. One then cannot be in a position to give the figures unless then one is to get the figures from the respective directorate of human resource, as well as maybe the CFO to give us the numbers in terms of their payrolls. But going back to my statement, I qualified it, and I will always qualify it with our experiences that I was narrating, that we are currently experiencing still, that the operations in Gauteng, they are obstructed such that it gives that opinion that most of the police officers then are part, because you get a new name almost every day of a member at all levels that is then associated with different cartels.
You see, General, the reason why that you don't have that luxury, you are a senior, most senior South African Police Service official. You're the head of crime intelligence. It is your core function to know that when you make such a public statement about SEPS, that it must be attached or come with solid proof. Because if I sit here as a layman and the head of crime intelligence says that almost the entire SEPS Gauteng works for the drug cartels, in my view, I would say that's not a layman saying that. That's a head. That's a national head. That means he must have solid proof to make such a statement. You have a duty not to just make statements like that. You have a duty to only make such statements when you have the facts. And that's what you've been saying, that your division is meticulous in investigation. So therefore, it is important for me to understand the financial year 2024-25, General. Gauteng had between 36 to 38,000 members. So when you say almost the entire SEPS in Gauteng, 100% of that is 38,000. So how much out of 38,000 members in Gauteng, based on the statement you've made yesterday, does almost refer to? The entire is 38. What is the amount based on your intelligence who are working for the cartel in Gauteng?
Thank you, Honorable Member. The statement cannot be properly understood if it is singled out and cited as a standalone statement. It talks to, I gave an example of our interventions through PKTT in KZN, that there was an open statement that the local police officers are compromised when it comes to investigation of such cases. And that was made to be part of our investigation, the identification of those, and then the investigation thereof to confirm. Then indeed, as of now, the number of police officers that are involved, that were arrested, that has been arrested, because the operation is still ongoing, it's at 35. Some of them have already been convicted. Some of them are still then awaiting the finalization of their trials.
Sorry,
Now, I'm coming back.
Just because of my time, sorry. I get the point you're making, but I want you to understand that when you said that statement, you saw the commotion in the room, and Honorable James then repeated to clarify. To say, are you really saying? And then you confirmed. Do you understand the impression you gave us? There was no room for us to draw different analogies. It was a direct statement that gave the understanding that you are saying majority of the total number of SEPs Gauteng works for the cartel. We can't dispute that. You are the head of intelligence. So we would assume you have intelligence on that. Are you saying now, to correct it, that you do not have intelligence on that statement, that the entire SEPs in Gauteng works for the cartel, almost the entire, that you do not have such intelligence, and that is a reckless statement made yesterday, and it gives the wrong impression?
Thank you, Honorable Member. I'll try to explain again, because I was giving that statement the basis of which it came from, with the KZN example. There will always be an overview of the threat that is identified, which then will be based on that statement. And thereafter, the process of identification and investigation will be a continuous process that then will talk to numbers and names. So it's something that is taking place on daily basis. But the statement for now, as I uttered it yesterday, it's related to the threat at a broader sense, to say the operation was affected by the fact that whatever that the team is planning will find its way to the target or to the persons of interest.
Yes, we're not disputing that. Zondo has shown us that there's criminal elements in SEPs. We're not disputing that, but it's not correct to say that as a general, you can come and first make a statement and then go and investigate. A statement that speaks to the integrity and the public confidence in the institution that you represent. You can't do that, General. It is not correct for you to make a blanket statement and say now, you'd have nothing to back that up here. You are still going to investigate and then come back and say, oh no, it's true. And how much is the number? So I put it to you as a project leader of a highly skilled and trained investigative team, and as the head of crime intelligence. It was a reckless, irresponsible statement for you to make. That's my submission to you. In the Madlanga Commission, you testified, General, that on the arrest of Mulife, one civilian boy Mtetwa called General Libya. Is that correct?
I do not have the affidavit that was submitted to the Madlanga Commission to confirm in terms of the paragraph and the correctness of the statement as it's put by the honorable member.
You stated it already. It is publicly available on all platforms, where you stated that one by the name of Boyam Tetwa called General Libya, and that is how you testified as what was interference by the Hawks. And then one Malcolm X then came and stated that he disagrees with you. It was not one Mtetwa, it was him who called General Libya. And he went public and said that you lied under oath. Did you lie?
As through you, Honorable Chair, I will then request that if then the questions are related to my affidavit submitted to the Madlanga Commission, and then I'm afforded an opportunity so as I can refer to, because it's not easy to admit to such type of questions without referring to a particular paragraph as made under oath.
Are you saying you did not testify to that effect at the Madlanga Commission?
I testified in Madlanga Commission based on my affidavit submitted.
Let me rephrase. Are you saying you did not say Boy Mtetwa called General Libya in your testimony? Are you saying you did not say that?
I'm not saying I did not say it through you, Honorable Chair. I'm not saying I did it. All what I'm saying is I do not have the affidavit that I submitted to the Madlanga Commission as part of my bundle, so as I'm able then, I'm under oath here, so as I'm able then to give the response with reference to what I testified on at Madlanga Commission.
General, please describe your relationship with General Masemula and General Mkhwanazi. How would you describe your relationship?
Okay, thank you, Chair. We are colleagues that grew up in the SAPS. We happened then to meet along our careers, where we first met and worked together for the first time was in the Division Operational Response Services, and then up to date we are still having that relationship of colleagues that are working for the SAPS.
You are very close, and one of the central things that brings you and makes you so close is the PKTT. I just want to go through a timeline because my time is almost up and I'm hoping I finish it in time. Just to show the interesting link between your relationship and how that relates to the PKTT. In 2011, General Mkhwanazi is briefly the acting national commissioner in 2011. In March 2012, General Mkhwanazi appoints General Masimula as Deputy National Commissioner Operations that later becomes policing. You testify in your affidavit that in 2018, you then as Major General or as Brigadier, whilst General Mkhwanazi is the Provincial Commissioner and General Masimula is the Deputy National Commissioner in 2018 for policing, you draft the implementation plan for the PKTT. And it is recommended officially by both General Mkhwanazi and General Masimula. In 2022, General Masimula becomes and is appointed the National Commissioner. And at his appointment, he then does similar to you what General Mkhwanazi has done to him when he was acting National Commissioner. And you get appointed as the head of crime intelligence. On provincial level, General Mkhwanazi is responsible for the PKTT and is also the co-chair for the steering committee that should have oversight over the PKTT. On national level, you have General Masimula, who is in control of the National Steering Committee. And you, as the project leader, moved from project coordinator to project leader of the PKTT, and as the head of crime intelligence. Is that an accurate and correct description of the timeline of this relationship centered around the PKTT?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The only part that one has to start by disputing is the colleagues that are brought together by PKTT. There is one factor that is common here. We are committed servants of the people, and we joined the police, and not as a group. We joined the police individually. So, like all other colleagues, including that are seated behind me, colleagues that are all over, that are working for SAPS. So the three of us are not different. We are working for SAPS. The timeline of appointments is not something that is related to us having worked together in one environment before. We have met in one environment and then we have parted ways and then we will meet again. So when it comes to the appointments, who's appointed where and when, according to my assessment, it's based on merits, not on who you know. I was categorically clear yesterday that when Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi was deployed in KwaZulu-Natal to go and act as the provincial commissioner, he requested to the National Commissioner, General Stolle by then, for me to be deployed with him based on my experience, my expertise when it comes to operations, so as then I can assist him during his deployment. So that is based on his understanding of my capabilities when we were working together at the Division Operational Response Services. PKTT is not something that brought us together. there are lots of other projects that we have been involved in, the three of us, other than the PKTT. So it happens that we are in, I will say, the same generation that happens to be in the SAPS at the current moment. But it does not mean that we were glued together from the time we joined the police. As I've indicated, I only met the two of them in 2006 when I moved from the division crime intelligence back to operational response services when I was appointed a lieutenant colonel. By then, Lieutenant Jan Kwanazi was a brigadier and Jan Masimula was a major general. So they were my seniors, and we were working, they were working at their level, I was working at my level. So the current situation cannot be applied as something that was planned or was there before. It's only in 2022, end of 2022, when I became a lieutenant general, and then also Jerome Kwanazi is a lieutenant general, and then National Commissioner was also a lieutenant general. So it's not the PKTT, it's something that started in 2018. So it is not true that it's a glue that is putting us together.
But you do agree that the timeline and the occurrences is correct?
One is failing to understand the importance of timeline in a selective way, like as the honorable member is starting it in 2011, 2012.
Yes.
When I'm starting it at the time when I joined the police, and then individually, so each one of us, the timeline will start at different times.
Yeah.
But the point where we met and we worked together, but at different levels, was in 2006.
Yeah, don't worry, General. I won't make the same mistake you did. I will not make a statement on what I believe that means, because we are still in the process. There will come a time when we will be able to accurately say what that means. But I am just probing to get to that point. So do you confirm that the timelines, however, is correct?
I do confirm that the timeline is correct as narrated by the honorable member, but the reasoning behind, I don't agree.
Yes, like I said, I will not say exactly yet, because we are still probing to get to whatever the truth is around the issue. But this ecosystem that's created around the PKTT, these are strategic positions that the three of you are in to keep it going, to keep it surviving, to the point where the minister was wrong as the chairperson of the IMC not to have the sittings. It's wrong to do that. He was wrong. But the reason why it could continue despite the IMC is because you had the National Steering Committee, you had on provincial level the steering committee with General Kwanazi being the co-chair, and then you had yourself. So it could continue until the disbandment. And then it was all systems go, and allegations was made. And today when we ask in the sitting, the proof. You as an investigator with skill, specialized skill, cannot confidently tell the country that these allegations can be backed up. I will rest and say, General, the truth will reveal itself, and everything is not as it seems.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Solicitor General. Honorable James.
Thank you so much, Chair. General, please be very concise and to the point. I don't have much time. During your time as Head of Crime Intelligence, how many drug cartels have you dismantled and identified?
I cannot have the exact figure to give, but in terms of our annual performance, we have those figures we can supply.
Just more or less, how many have you identified and successfully dismantled? Because as things stand, it's as if these drug cartels are operating forever and a day in this country.
Yeah, I'll say plus minus 11 or 12 per year. It's not easy to sum up my performance, as I've indicated, and I remember that basically one can say I was able to operate for 1.5 years, and then this disruption came. But we were making some inroads with our takedowns that were seen on the news, hitting the drug post, hitting the intercepting the drugs as they go in and out of the country. But I cannot be able to give the exact number.
Are you able to give us an exact estimate on successful prosecutions of these drug busts that you've taken down?
Also that in most cases, the prosecution will take a very long time because looking at my time as it started in 2023. So the takedowns and the arrests that were effected at the end of those projects towards the end of 2023, those cases, most of them are supposed to be still under prosecution.
Okay. Now this Jerry character that everyone seems to be crying about, he was a drug dealer, right? Not even a drug dealer. He was a drug manufacturer. He was a drug kingpin in South Africa. He was probably part of a cartel. Am I correct?
That's correct.
Were you investigating him? Were you aware that he's a drug manufacturer, or did you only learn this after his disappearance?
Honorable Member, that is part of the information that maybe I feel that the platform is not suitable for me to clearly explain as to the drug cartel involving Ket Matlala and his role, and as to the reasons why he suddenly came up to the level where he is now.
Okay, so basically, because when we asked Mr. Matlala if he was involved in drug trafficking, he said no, only his friend was involved. So you've just clarified that to us today. So he too is involved in the distribution of drugs in all our communities.
That's correct.
So we lied again.
That's correct, Honorable.
Okay. General, also, you know that Gauteng is a hotspot for drug trafficking, okay? Considering your allegation that nearly the entire SAPS in Gauteng is captured by these cartels, I want to ask about an incident that happened in July 2021. I think it was in Aeroton. You mentioned that yesterday that there was a JMPD officer that was also part of the cartel in Kat and Sibia's corner. There was also a JMPD officer that was caught on that day with SAPS members when they had offloaded their truck and on their way off, and it was intercepted by other SAPS members. This JMPD officer that was on this scene, because it was millions of rands of drugs, has he been arrested? Is it the same JMPD officer?
No, it's the second one. but the investigation, it includes even that incident.
Okay, so
current
the investigation includes the Aeroton incident, and that wasn't the first Aeroton incident, it was the second one.
Not the only one.
It's not the only one.
Yes, Honorable.
So you're saying that Mr. Kat Matlala, Jerry, everybody, they all linked?
That is the investigation that we're busy with, as I've said, as and when the time is right, one can come back and give a feedback in terms of where we are now in terms of it.
Because as I'm connecting the dots, this stretches to the Durban Harbour where a container was found with cocaine worth, I think 500 million or something to that, and then the second one again. And I'm looking at the people that you mentioned yesterday and this drug bust, it's all linked. And I cannot help but wonder, has any of these people been arrested?
Yesterday, Honorable Chair, I touched on the way our operation was disrupted when we started on the 6th of December. So one will be maybe in a position then to refer to all the names that are under investigation if then we were not disrupted in terms of our plan of these takedowns regarding this whole drug cartel investigation.
Have you alerted the JMPD MMC in Johannesburg? Are you working closely because these are his members?
That is correct. And the reports did go to the office of the MMC as well as the commissioner of police then in Johannesburg.
Feroz Khan, is he part of the cartel?
It's those types of questions that I'm not at liberty to answer with a yes or no, Honorable Member, based on the ongoing investigation.
Is he a part of the cartel?
Unfortunately, I'll give the same response, Honorable Member.
Okay. So I guess this is why SAPS is going after Dumisani Khumalo in Gauteng, because he's dismantling their operations in Gauteng. Because if we have no one that's attending to the drug issue in our country, and we have ordinary citizens acting, and now they must be handed, give themselves up for dismantling these operations. Is that fair?
If it's true, it's not fair, Honorable Member. We need to work together. We are clear in terms of the effects of drug or availability of drugs within our communities. Hence, we believe that with this project, we will be able to make a difference.
And then also going back to your statement that the entire SAPS is captured, I also know that there's been so many irregular appointments in SAPS, and you briefly touched on it yesterday. Is it also part of your responsibility to look into these matters?
One of the responsibilities of the division is to protect the SAPS against any harm. So the irregular appointments are meant then to harm SAPS. Hence, then we are part of the vetting process before the appointments are finalized.
I want to ask you, did you vet General Fani Masemole's nephew that is working in his office? Are you aware that he has family members working in his office? Are you aware that Fani Masemole's right hand, General Mosekile, has her daughter-in-law, has her daughter working all in the same office?
No, I'm not aware, Honorable Member.
Okay, so I put it to you that General Mosekile, are you aware that she was also embroiled in a macro incident?
We have the report that talks to that, but again, it's not a matter that we can discuss as it's still under investigation.
Because the reason why I'm saying and mentioning the irregular appointments, because if it's one big family affair in SAPS, this is why we have the entire SAPS captured. Because it's a family affair, and this is why we have drug cartels that continues to make inroads in our communities, because no one's prepared to speak out, because it's a family affair. It's right starting from the National Commissioner's office. So that's where we have to start. You cannot have sons, daughters, and nephews working in the offices of national commissioners that hasn't been interviewed, that hasn't been vetted. You are the head of crime intelligence. What are your plans to deal with this crisis in this INSAPS?
What is contained in my statement, that was only referring to the division crime intelligence, the subset large, and then there are plans that are in place then for a team that will be inclusive of our counterintelligence and vetting sections in terms of identifying all those challenges or threats and deal with them then the correct way.
I want to go back to this question, and I didn't want to belabor this point because it's been asked by my colleagues. From the pool of SAPS members with your analysis and intelligence identified as working for or with these cartels, how many to date has been arrested?
Can I request that the Honourable Member repeat the question?
Right. The pool of SAPS members that your analysis and intelligence has identified. So your analysis has identified that there's a pool of SAPS members working with cartels. To date, how many has been arrested?
In terms of this particular investigation, one can say we have one so far, and as I indicated, the whole plan of the project was really disrupted from the 6th of December when we were starting with these takedown operations to dismantle the cartel from within and outside SAPS. But we have investigations that are complete, others are almost complete, and then we are continuing with the project.
How many has been suspended?
I won't be able to give the number, Honourable Member, as that falls outside my scope. Then the Divisional Commissioner, Human Resource Management, will be the one that can be able to give those.
Do you know how many has been subjected to internal disciplinary processes?
I know that there is a process that had started, but still the statistics are with the respective division.
General, I want to ask in closing, do you think that your department is adequately capacitated to deal with the drug cartels and the crime in South Africa?
At the present moment, I can confirm that we are not capacitated at the level where one would wish. It's a pity that then there are these challenges that we come across as we embark on the capacitation of the environment, so as then we are able then to be at the level where we can deal with organized crime. I explained yesterday, Honourable Member, that maybe the obsession and the focusing on the PKTT is what makes us maybe lose the focus. I was trying yesterday to bring forward the methodology instead of the name that makes us then maybe associate it with the faces of whoever. is. There are lots of plans that are included in my affidavit that are implemented by SAPS, and I indicated that this methodology has been approved at different levels for it to be implemented. So it needs just the capacitation. Yesterday, I referred to it as a will from different levels, so as then we can be able to do what we are supposed to do in terms of drug trafficking and usage thereof in our country.
The reason why I posed that question to you, because for as long as we don't conclude on all of these investigations, our country remains under threat by the likes of Ministers General Sipia and Kat Matlalas. So it's important for us to know whether, and also in terms of our recommendations that we meant to do after this report, it's important for us to understand the state of that department. That is very, very important. You agree?
I do agree, Honorable.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Honorable James. I think some of the questions that you have put here, you may have to put them in writing to the respective people, especially those allegations about the appointment of their relatives. I don't think General Khumalo should be answerable to. If there is an allegation that I'm working with my nephew, it must be me who must respond to that allegation. And I think he may have difficulties to respond to that. If there are any names that you have, let's put those questions in writing and forward them to the respective authorities for them to respond.
I'll do so, Chair, and I hear what you're saying, but having family employed, that poses a threat. This is crime intelligence, and crime intelligence is meant to detect threats within our country. So this is why I'm saying that he should be on top of this. It's not his direct responsibility, but when anything poses a threat in a department, he should be able to pick it up and sort of at least guide.
That is purely HR matter, and the accounting head or the person responsible for human resource.
No, Chair, I disagree with you.
Honorable James, will you do so? Will you forward the questions in writing to the respective authority that must respond?
Yes, I will, but it's not purely an HR function. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Honorable members, we are going to take a 10 minutes break until 12 o'clock. When we come back, I can see that side, the list is exhausted. Honorable Ngango has spoken, Honorable Sols has spoken, Honorable James has spoken, Honorable Malema and Matthews have spoken. So we are left with Honorable